So to get started, once you have your cake baked, you can use whatever flavor you want, but we're just gonna go along the edges here and just kind of cut out the parts that are a little more crispy. So make sure your hands are nice and clean, and then you can just grab the inside of the cake and throw it in a bowl. This is the part that the kids will love. They can come and be the cleanup committee and eat all the scraps. So we're just gonna start with 1 scoop of frosting and mix up the cake and the frosting. If you take your hands and kind of squish it together, it actually forms pretty well, and that's how we want it to be.
Okay, we're gonna start by forming the cake pops to make Olaf's face, and I use about a tablespoon amount, just about that much. Make sure your hands are clean, and I'm just gonna roll it. Once you have your dough all kneaded into a ball, I'm going to try to kind of make a diamond shape with my dough. This is gonna create Olaf's high cheekbones. So just kind of mess with it. And then his eyes are sunken in, and then his nose sits on top of his lip. So I'm just gonna kind of push my hand down there to create the indent for his eyes to sit in. You can use your teaspoon or tablespoon. Press that down, and then we're gonna also do it on the other side to press his lip out. And we're gonna try to make that smiley. I think that's good. So we'll make a few more of those, and then we will add the cake pop sticks. Once you have formed your Olaf heads, go ahead and melt some white chocolate, or I actually used almond bark for this. I think it's a little bit easier to work with than chocolate. Melt a bunch because you're going to use this to dunk Olaf's head in it, and we're going to use it to set the sticks, to help glue the sticks into the cake pops. Tap the excess off, and then just stick it into Olaf and let it set. Okay, while our Olafs are setting in the fridge, we're gonna work on his features. Let's start with his nose. You're just gonna take a toothpick and a mini marshmallow. I just ended up cutting them diagonally and then kind of just molding it into a shape that I liked. And then go ahead and stick a toothpick in the bottom part of the nose. And then all you're gonna do is dunk it in some orange candy melts. So try not to get the orange candy melts on the very bottom so that it doesn't stick to the toothpick. Right, next we are going to just make Olaf's little sticks that come out the top of his head. We just ended up using chocolate licorice, and I just used my food scissors again. And just cut it into little tiny skinny sticks. You can do it however you want. Another feature that Olaf has is a big tooth hanging down, and so I'm just gonna use mini marshmallows for that as well, and just use your cooking scissors again and cut your marshmallow in half. And then I actually ended up cutting it in half again to make it a little bit thinner. Then just trim the sides off so it's a straight line up instead of looking all pinched. And that is all I did for his little tooth. Now that our Olaf cake pops have set, I'm going to go ahead and dip them into our almond bark, or if you're using white chocolate, you can do that as well. Now our Olaf heads have set with their first round of dipping, so I'm gonna go ahead and dip them a second time and then put Olaf together. Go ahead and place his nose up on that bump we created. And then add his cute little eyes. I'm gonna stick him back in here while I work on his hair. We are down to the end here with this Olaf. I just melted some milk chocolate and I put it in a sandwich bag with one of my icing tips. Use the skinniest icing tip you have, and if you don't have one of those tips, it's just fine. Just cut the corner off of your sandwich baggie, or you can use a piping bag, whatever you have. And we're going to do Olaf's eyebrows and then his smile. Step is just attaching his tooth, so I'm just going to use one of those toothpicks I have and get a little bit of white chocolate to act as the glue. And there we have it. We're also going to make a few other types of cake pops that are a little bit simpler than the Olaf's but just as delicious. I'm going to do the same thing and just take about a tablespoon of my dough. And I'm just gonna do round cake pops, and we're just gonna decorate these, and they'll be inspired by Frozen too. So all you need to do is roll your dough into a ball, and then dunk your cake pop stick in your chocolate, just enough that it will attach to the cake pop and act as a glue. And then you can just stab it into your cake pop. Don't stab it all the way through, or your cake pop will still slide right off your pop. And then just set it somewhere to let the chocolate harden. I'm going to dunk a few of these in the white chocolate as well, and then I am going to sprinkle fall colored sprinkles on these just to represent the fall leaves in Frozen 2. So I'm actually going to double dip these as well. If you're only going to do one layer, then have your sprinkles ready to sprinkle on right after you have dipped and tapped the excess chocolate off. That way the sprinkles will stick to the cake pops. I'm also going to do some Elsa cake pops. We just melted some turquoise candy melts, and this is a little bit thicker than the almond bark, so I'm just gonna dip it once. And so I have all my sprinkles and decorations ready to go. This first one, I'm gonna just do some of these really cool silver sprinkles. We had a helper wake up from his nap, so he's gonna help me decorate some of these cake pops. Good job. Okay, do another one. We're using stars because we couldn't find snowflakes, but I'm sure you can find some if you want. Good job. Should we do more?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you can't eat it yet. Okay, that one looks awesome. Good job, buddy.